many times. They shot the heck out of the basketball. I mean, look at that first quarter. They put 47 on the board, but then they really cooled off in the second quarter. I'm looking at the box score right here. They were outscored 28-19. And, this is a Memphis team that's playing without John Morant. They're playing without Steven Adams, and yet it's a 5-point game. The other night when they were playing Philadelphia, it was 66 to what? It was a 10-point game at the half, right? And here we are, and the Memphis Grizzlies, without their all-star point guard and their monster down low Steven Adams, have made this a 5-point game after a rough start. All right, let's bring in Ryan in Sacramento as Ryan joins us here at the half. Ryan, I'm looking at this box score. Again, we talk about no Morant, no Adams. 3-point shooting for Sacramento was outstanding, but boy, they were so careless with the basketball in the first half. That's why this is only a 5-point game.
Incredibly careless, Grant. You're exactly right. They had it started to feel a little bit like the second quarter of the last game where the momentum fell and they just were starting to fall apart, and hopefully it doesn't bleed over.
Boy, it better not. 13 turnovers, and meanwhile, Memphis only turned the ball over 3 times. The Kings did do a better job on the glass, Ryan, out-rebounding Memphis 26-17, but you would expect that without Steven Adams. So I don't even want to begin to imagine what this postgame show is going to be like if you lose to another team without their all-star point guard and another guy that kills you in Steven Adams. But for Sacramento, how about Keegan Murray? 19 minutes, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 5 of 7 from the floor, Ryan, and 3 of 4 from distance.
Yeah, Keegan's playing excellent. In fact, the Kings need to emulate what Keegan's doing right now because he's taking advantage of the fact that they are shooting the ball great from three-point range, or at least they did in the first quarter, and taking it to the hole. And that's where the turnovers are happening, Grant, because they're being ran off the three-point line at this point. So they just need to be more aggressive and they need to be more conservative with their passes.
And another key in this second half is going to be how quickly will Sabonis pick up his 4th foul. He's got 3 fouls right now. If he picks up his 4th early on, Mike Brown's going to have to take him out of the game. So that could be a real key, Ryan.
Absolutely, Grant. And another key as well, they cannot fall in love with the 3-ball, Grant. Obviously, they set a franchise record in the first quarter, 12 of 13. They were 1 of 8 in the second quarter.
I agree.
Which tells me they are falling in love with it, and that's a recipe for disaster.
Nah, I think that is a very, very good point right there. 66-61 is the score at the half. I think that's really, though, almost a microcosm of what's going on in the league, Ryan. You look at the 3-point shooting night in, night out, and that's what the league has become. I think the league's got a couple of issues they're going to have to work on here, okay? I think they're going to have to change the way the game is played, and you can do that by changing the 3-point line. Take away the corner 3, which Jerry told me years ago, right, or move the line back a little bit. The shot is becoming too easy, Ryan, for these NBA players, and I think it's taking away from the beauty, the artistic value of the game of basketball. I enjoy the game the way it used to be played a lot more than I enjoy it now. I know, Ryan, a lot of people like offense, and that's fine and dandy, but I just think we're missing the real beauty of basketball.
Yeah, Grant, but the reality is defense doesn't put butts in the seats. It's offense, right? And you're looking at, and I agree with you on the whole, you're looking at players that are bigger, stronger, faster than they were back in the day. Therefore, we're seeing these big guys shooting threes. You got to move that line back or take away the corner, like you said, but it's not going to get any better until the NBA does take some action of some sort.
All right, so you say it takes, butts in the seats. So during the Magic Bird era, was attendance a problem for the NBA league-wide? I mean, it really wasn't. I understand what you're saying because it's a trend, Ryan, not only in the NBA, but in the NFL and in other sports as well, hockey too. So I get that. And I'm not saying, Ryan, change the game dramatically. What I'm saying is just make some subtle changes that will make the inside game a little bit more important than it is now.
Yeah, I agree, Grant. Nobody's talking about raising the rim another couple inches because guys are dunking too much. It's the 3-pointers that we're all talking about. But ultimately, yeah, there needs to be something because that is the trend. There's no doubt about it. Look at the scores. I mean, the Kings scored 47 in the first quarter. 47 points, Grant.
Hey, I want to let everybody know today is the 5th game of what we are doing. And right now, Amir is in the clubhouse. And when we come on after the game tonight, we'll utilize the super chat. And right now, Amir is in the clubhouse, and he would join us on this post-game show after the next game against Toronto. So keep that in mind. We'll go and talk about it a little bit more in the post-game. But right now, 66-61. All right, Ryan. I got to tell you, I don't think the Kings are going to be able to shoot 57% from three in the second half. They're only up by 5. I think they're going to have to play differently in the second half. So what do you think it's going to take to beat this shorthanded Memphis Grizzlies team?
Well, the first, Sabonis is going to have to be on the floor. So Sabonis cannot get into further foul trouble early in the third quarter. The second is on defense. They need to slow down a little bit. They're flying around. They're not closing out right. And they just need to rotate a little bit better offensively, in my opinion. They need to control the ball. They need to love the leather, as Jerry would say. And they need to take advantage of the inside because it is there. That's the good thing about shooting the three ball well. It opens up the backdoor cuts. It opens up the dribble drives, and they need to stop penetration in transition.
What's going on with Kevin Huerter? He played 12 minutes and didn't score a point. I mean, nothing at all from your shooting guard.
Yeah, well, he kind of got lost in the mix, right? With Keegan and Harrison starting off hot.
That's a good point.
So, look for Kevin always finds a way to contribute, whether it's on the scoreboard or not. So look for him to, that's actually a plus, Grant, because now we've got Kevin that can maybe get hot here in the second half and contribute something.
How about this? Only 9 combined free throws in the first half, 5 for Sacramento, 4 for Memphis, because everybody's just standing behind the line and chucking the ball up. Right?
Exactly. And there hasn't been a ton of long rebounds. The Kings have been shooting the ball efficiently from the three-point line. So that's not conducive to many free throws. But they're going to need those, certainly. Yep. So get Memphis into foul trouble.
Jay's exactly right. They do need that killer instinct. Hey, we want to say thank you very much to Bennett's. They are now part of this program. They have 2 locations, one in Roseville, Lead Hill, and Eureka, the other one on the corner of Fair Oaks and Howe. And their food is fabulous. I love the steaks there. They have prime cuts of beef, whether it's the prime New York, they have a bone-in ribeye, they have hanger steak, porterhouse. They're great. I love the whole menu. Redfish is another one of my really favorite items on the menu. Bennett's is great. It's also a family atmosphere. Ryan, I know you've been there with your family, and so it's not just like, hey, take a date or take your significant other. You can take your kids. I mean, I know you've taken your son there, and I always see families there enjoying a nice meal. So it has everything. The location on Howe and Fair Oaks is a little bit more formal, although when I was there with my 2 boys, there was a family sitting next to us. So I don't discourage you. I'm just saying the ambiance is a little bit different on Howe and Fair Oaks. That's where they that was the Banderas location. Yeah. And the lighting is more subdued and dim. So I love the fact that you have the diversity there. You can have more of a formal atmosphere in Sacramento on Howe and Fair Oaks, or the more casual atmosphere at Bennett's Kitchen on Eureka. Love it. Thank you very much for being on. Also, huge King supporters, the Bennett family.
Yes. And yeah, Brian's great. Bennett family's awesome. Don't forget about their brunch either. Their Sunday brunch is amazing. So go check that out.
I have heard their Sunday brunch is amazing. I'm glad you pointed that out. Next time I'm in Sacramento, we'll do it. We'll all get together, and we will be out there. All right, 66-61 at the break. Grant Napier here, Ryan in Sacktown. And don't forget, we will be coming on right after the game. All right, so yeah, it was a fun first quarter. All right, it was a fun first quarter. Oh, by the way, thank you very much for your love with Bennett's. I will pass that on. Actually, they watch a lot of the shows too. But anyway, that first quarter was unbelievable, 47-33. But you see, it's not a 12-minute game. It's a 48-minute game. And we've seen this before, Ryan. So they outscore Memphis 47-33 in the first. And then in the second quarter, they only scored 19. They go from scoring 47 to 19. And you just literally, you say it's all because of the 3-ball, right?
It's completely because of the 3-ball, Grant. I mean, it changes. It's not the amount of threes that they're taking. It's they're looking to take the 3. That's the problem. They're not looking inside. They're setting up plays, setting up guys to kick out instead of maybe kicking down. And so it's just a mindset. And hopefully they can find that balance because they need to have a balanced attack.
All right, here's a good message. You know what the NBA doesn't love? The NBA doesn't love their TV ratings suffering. Okay, the NBA doesn't like when the playoffs come on in the finals that the NBA ratings are terrible. The NBA doesn't like the fact that they play head-to-head against the NFL and get annihilated. Okay? They don't like that. I know the NFL is over in February. I'm not saying the NBA doesn't like this. No one's campaigning for a game in the 70s. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that teams are routinely scoring 40 or more points a quarter. We see it from the Kings from time to time. They had 47 in the first quarter. I'm sorry. I don't think that's good for the overall health of basketball. I think the game has become too dependent on three-point shooting. And me personally, who loves the game, I mean, think about it. I announced it for 32 years and loved the NBA.
Right.
I got to tell you, I don't love it nearly as much as I used to. And it's because of the style of basketball.
Well, Grant, let me sum it up in 2 sentences.
Yep.
The three-point shot used to be an advantage, right? That was an advantage where you had one or two guys that specialized in that. Now you have 5 guys on the floor that can just about do it on every team.
Great point. All right, I want to also talk about something else, Ryan. I want to share some thoughts about players taking nights off. Tonight, no Morant, no Steven Adams. The other night, no Embiid, no Harden. So I used to talk a lot to the European players about this. And the reason why I talk to the European players is everyone now is saying, oh, gee, the players now, they play AAU ball and blah, 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 blah. I talked to Vlade and Paige about this. They left home at an early age to basically play professional basketball as teenagers. And they went up through the European system. And I used to ask them about how they felt during the 82-game season, because they used to play basketball internationally in the summer every year, every single year, the European Championships, the Olympics, every year. And they laugh at me when I ask them those questions. They used to laugh at me. They're like, are you kidding me? They're like, they actually feel like it benefited them. So I hear about what Steve Kerr is saying, but you know what? I don't hear Steve Kerr complaining about all the players in the NBA that go over and play in the offseason. You know, I don't hear him saying don't play. You know, but Steve Kerr has no problem resting his players on a regular basis. And then people go, well, they have to do it because of the players are coming up playing AAU. That's garbage, okay? The players around the world, okay, like the Europeans, like some of the Kings that you used to root for, they were playing professional basketball as young teenagers, okay? 15, 16, 17 years old. So stop it with this nonsense, please.
Yeah, I hear you, Grant. And I mean, to draw a similarity, really the younger guys in the NBA, they're kind of in that same formula, right? They're coming up playing AAU ball year round. They're playing for their high schools, club teams. If they're not doing that, they're doing the tournaments across the country. So I don't get it either. It's almost like it's fashionable, right? I mean,
terrible.
Here's what gets me, Grant, for Memphis, right? Their next game is at Golden State. And I think that's national TV. You're going to tell me right now in the West, it's more important to sit Ja Morant and Steven Adams against the Sacramento Kings, who are number 3 seed, than it is the Golden State Warriors. What's that tell you? It doesn't make sense.
It tells me exactly, you know what it tells me. First of all, Steve Kerr is a very good coach. Steve Kerr has won 4 championships, okay, because he's had the best players in the world on his team. Okay, so I'm not taking anything away from Steve Kerr. Okay, you remember the year that Steve Kerr missed over half the season, and Luke Walton came in and coached the team and actually had a better record than Steve Kerr. Again, I like Steve Kerr both personally and professionally, but let's stop it with this. Okay, the Warriors have won 4 straight championships because they had Steph Curry and they had Klay Thompson in the backcourt, and we'll stop right there. They won more because of Kevin Durant. Okay, they had a minimum of 3 Hall of Famers playing in all of their final series. So stop it with that. All right. Stop it with that.
Amen.
All right. So 66. Good thing I don't have to talk for a living. 66 to 61. Way to go, Nate Pierre. Way to go.
Attaboy,
what do you see as, give me the number 1 key in this second half?
Number 1 key is do not fall in love with the 3 ball and take care of the ball. You have to run everything through Domas. You go back to Domas, as you see, they're doubling him on the catch. And that's going to open up many opportunities for your Kevin Huerters, who aren't playing well right now or getting a lot of shots. Shoot, De'Aaron Fox, I'm not looking at the box right now, but he only had 5 points or 5 shots before his last stint in the second quarter. So get everybody else involved. You have to do it and keep Sabonis out of foul trouble.
You obviously, NBA young Cobb, you obviously don't watch European basketball, or else you wouldn't make such a stupid comment. All right, so we'll be on after the post-game show, or after the game on the post-game show, 66 to 61, Ryan. Cross your fingers, and let's hope we get some good news.
Let's do it, Grant. All right. See you after the game.
All right, sounds good. And we'll see everybody else right after the game. 24 minutes of basketball remaining. We'll break it down right after the game. Thanks very much. So long, everybody.